Hi, I'm Dillon, and this is my POL for first semester. So, as you know, we have to have a story, and I chose The Lion King because I believe The Lion King story was similar to how my first semester of FPX 10 went. And so, if you don't know, The Lion King is a story of a little lion cub named Simba, and he's born into this world. And his father Mufasa is the Lion King, and he's next up to take the throne. And he must learn the ways of life in order to become king. But his evil Uncle Scar wants the throne too, so he tries to make Simba and Mufasa die. And so one of the first things Simba needs to learn is to hunt, and one of those things is he needs to learn how to pounce. So in the movie, as you can see, this was his first attempt at pouncing, and he failed. And he was very discouraged and he didn't know what to do. But by maintaining a positive mindset and belief in the value of persistence and learning, and with help from his father, he was able to make his first catch. As you can see here, he's determined to make a catch. He doesn't want to give up. And so he was able to catch the bird. And so that's similar to how our pencil box project went. We were assigned to pick a teacher to give the pencil box to, or make the pencil box for. And we chose Mr. Pasamonte, our new principal. And I thought that was a good idea because he was new to the school, and I guess we could just gift him something. And so we met with him a couple times, and he told us that he wanted his pencil box to be similar to one he had already, but his was made out of metal. And so as you can see, different compartments. This one's for pencils, this one's for loose change. If there's a place in the front for business cards. And so when we brought the plans back, my group and I had a really hard time figuring out how to measure the wood correctly and how to sketch everything out, because in the beginning of the project we had to turn in a sketch that was the exact measurements, and I found that super difficult. But I felt like giving up, but I didn't, and so I discussed with my group, and we asked Mr. Kaneko for a lot of help. And we were able to complete this project by maintaining a positive mindset. Next in the movie, Scar lures Mufasa and Simba in front of a herd of wildebeests. And unfortunately, Mufasa dies. And Simba's so sad on the side, you can see him crying because his father's dead. And so, this is kind of like, there are people who kill animals to sell their body parts, just like Scar did. And so this leads into the zoo banner project. We were assigned to make a zoo banner for the zoo, and I worked with Henry, and we decided we wanted to do illegal animal trade and poaching. And so this was a good example of nurture, sustain, and steward the environment and community in which they live. And when we had our presentation for the parents and stuff, we were able to explain everything. And so, as you can see on our poster, we have the purpose for poaching, why people do it, because they want to make money off of animal parts that sell for a lot. There's some stats on how many animals, some animals are endangered and how many are left. And there's things we can do about it, but unfortunately we're not able to impact Africa and those kind of countries where poaching is common directly. So we just have to avoid purchasing any exotic animal parts and raise awareness and those kind of things. In the movie, Simba, after Mufasa dies, Simba runs away into the forest, and he meets Timon and Pumbaa, a meerkat and a warthog, and they teach him the ways of how they live in the forest. And Simba's not used to this because he's used to eating other animals like meat, and in this picture, he has to eat a grub, and he's not used to that. As you can see, he's kind of closing his eyes because it's so gross. But after a while, he becomes comfortable in the forest, and so he collaborated with and positively impacted his peers. He let them know what happened, and in return, they gave him skills to live in the forest. And when we went to Hei'ia Fish Pond, we met with Kanaloa Bishop, one of the workers there. And he gave us a tour of the fish pond, some history, and in return he asked that we help move rocks across a body of water onto a rock wall, and so that the workers could move them from there. And we collaborated with him, and he positively impacted us by giving us science about the fish pond, some history, and we're also going to be able to fish in the fish pond, which is super exciting. And then in return, we helped him by moving these rocks because it would have taken a long time for them to do this without our help. So after Simba lives in the forest for a little bit, he decides that it's time to go back to Pride Rock, where the Lion Kingdom is. And since Scar's leading the lions right now, he decides that he needs to take over because it's a mess. And so he goes back with Timon, and Timon causes like a ruckus so that Simba can start. Simba just has to deal with Scar. And so all the hyenas that are there chase Timon and go away. And so Simba embraced this risk, and he took the opportunity to solve the problem of Scar leading this Lion Kingdom. And this is similar to our podcast project. We were assigned to do a podcast on properties of wood. And my group and I, we really love basketball, so we wanted to connect it to something with basketball. And we were having a hard time, and then we came up with a great idea. We could connect properties of wood to how basketball courts are made, indoor basketball courts, because most of them are made of wood. And we didn't know if this was going to be good, so we just took the risk, and we were able to complete this project, and it was very successful. So when Simba meets Scar at the top of the mountain, Simba knows that Scar likes to fight paw-on-paw combat. So before he fought Scar, he came up with a good idea that once he was on the ground, he would use his hind legs to flip Scar off the mountain. And it was a good idea because once, as you can see, they're fighting here, and then Simba gets knocked to the ground, and Scar lunges on top of him, and then Simba's able to flip him off the mountain, and he dies. And so he collected and analyzed data about Scar, and his solution was to flip Scar off the mountain. And so that's like our project with Miss Napoleon. Right now we're working with Senator Mackay to create a reward app for people who turn in other people for doing something illegal that's environmental related. And so we researched a lot about this, about how we can make this app, and we found the app that's already in existence. It's part of Crime Stoppers though, so it's kind of a separate topic. And the DLNR people said they really liked our idea, and the research we did was on that Crime Stoppers app, how many crimes, or how many times people use that, and so it's not that popular, and so this project is still going on, so we're still finding ways to develop the app and how to make it more popular. And so that will be our solution to that problem for the environmental legal acts. Thank you.
Well, it's not 8 minutes and a half.
Any questions for Dillon or
Well,
comments?
I got a question, Dillon. How come in every picture you're wearing the same shirt as you are today? Like, I swear, you're wearing that shirt in every single picture that you're in.
He likes his shirts.
Oh, you planned it. You planned it.
Dude, like,
Yeah.
I swear.
He pranked all of us right
Like
there.
3 times. Like,
What?
Yeah, well, he also
That, I think,
was in a group with
that's the
Henry
best one.
every
You can go change.
single project.
I wish you had a conclusion.
Whoosh.
Otherwise, well done.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
Any other questions?
Did I ask something?
You had a summary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
Wait, can you see conclusion in this semester revision?
Any other questions or comments? Are you excited for the remake of Lion King?
Yes.
Real animals? Oh, that took me years, yeah.
I never
Yeah.
saw.
I think one of the best parts about Lion King is that it's like animated.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, who's that?